guess I have two very different styles of painting. One would be using inspiration from a photograph and having a photograph here, probably on my iPad, and use that as a basis. And the other style that I have, which is what I'm doing just now, is very much experimental. Everything here is experimental for me other than the acrylic paint. So what I'm using here is an offcut of some flooring we've had fitted. This being what I started with. And yeah, as you can see, I've just added some white paint to this just now. I'm adding a bit more white paint to the top and bottom here, so that I can utilise that a bit later. My idea is to paint a bit of an abstract seascape. It might not end up as a seascape. It might end up as something else. That's kind of the experimental nature I'm dealing with, but it's fun. So yeah, I've got a bit more white on the top and bottom here. So what I'm going to do is go in with some colour along the middle and create a horizon and take it from there. So I've got some colours laid out here, and I'm going to start with quite a dark one. So I've got some Payne's Grey, which is like a slightly bluish, very dark grey. And I'm just going to go in with this somewhere near the middle and create some marks. Bit more towards the outside. It doesn't really matter if the horizon's not straight, because that's not what I'm going for here. I'm not going for perfection. I'm going for just, as you can see, there's still some white paint on here, so that's diluted down a little bit, but that's okay. We'll take whatever it gives us. That's kind of what I'm working with. So yeah, darker colour for some, I suppose, land. And I'm just going to follow, there's some grain on this flooring, as you can tell, because it's flooring and it's supposed to look like wood. It's not actually wood, but yeah, so I'm going to follow some of the grain lines here and just utilise them a little bit. Or a little bit lighter up towards the top here. I'm just really winging it here. So that's kind of my starting point. I'm creating some marks. I'm going to go in with a slightly different colour now. I've got some purple here, kind of true purple, quite a dark colour still. And what we'll do is go slightly further into the background here with the purple. You know, as I say, we're experimenting here. So I'm just going to add some blobs of this, create some texture. As I say, I'm not entirely sure what this is at the moment. It's beginning to look a bit like trees, so I'm going to go up with some vertical marks. And we can go in with that Payne's Grey again later. But yeah, quite liking this so far. I don't want it too symmetrical, so I'm going to take it a bit further up at this side. Add some purple into that blue. Yep, liking that so far. I'll go in with yet another colour. I've got some really bright pink here. I don't want to use too much of this. I'm just going to dab a little bit in and see what happens. Yeah, this is just given, I don't know, a little hint of the landscape here. That could be the light coming from, I don't know, buildings, or it could just be sunlight. At the moment, I don't know what it is. Might decide on that later. Might just leave it. Might leave it to whoever's looking at the painting to decide what it is. Yeah, this is not a taught style, by the way. This is just something I've taught myself, as are most of the paintings that I do. I'm self-taught. My other style is a little bit more formal, I guess, using a photo as inspiration. But this is literally coming from my head. I've got some bright yellow here, which to me says light. So we've got a lot of light coming from this side, but that I think is coming from buildings. I suspect the light is coming over this way from the left. So we're going to add some yellow highlights just where I think the light would land. Be a little bit over here, but a bit more here. And up the side here. So, I don't know if you can see this taking shape, but I can. And what I want to do now, I mean, it's nowhere near the finished article, but I'm just going to have a little play with this. And I'm going to take quite an old raggedy brush, which is a little bit damp, so I'm going to dry it off a bit. I've always got a cloth in my hand. And I'm going to drag down some of this colour into the bottom. Hopefully you'll see what I mean. There we go. Just dragging it down a little bit. I might need some more of the colour. I'm going to take some of the pink here, drag it down, take some of the yellow. Can you see where I'm going with this? This now becomes reflection. Again, nothing too formal. It's never going to be realistic, this picture. But, yeah, I'll drag it down a little bit more. That's maybe a bit too far. It's okay, we can fix that. And, yeah, as with, this is something that I've learned. As with reflection, you go down, and then you go very slightly across. So you've got the texture of that water. And this is why I left some of the white at the bottom, is to work that in. Maybe not taking that down far enough, but we're just at the beginning of this painting. I'm going to do something similar across the top, so I'm going to clean this brush a little bit. And I'm just going to take some of this paint, maybe some of the purple, some of the blue, and I'm going to just very, very slightly, you might not even see this, oh, there's yellow coming through, that's fine. That's some light. We'll take what we can get. There we go, that's quite nice. And then we're just going to build this up. We're going to add some more dark towards the bottom of what is now the land. Let's go back in with the Payne's Grey. Try and pick out the line where the land ends. So it doesn't need to be perfect. There we go. Just gives it a little bit definition. I'm not going to add too much towards the centre at the moment. This side's a bit higher up, that's okay. It just means it's a bit further back. Drag this down a little bit. And here. A bit further at this side. Because you would have more reflection there, because there are more whatever these are further up. That'll do for now. And then what I would normally do at this point is take a photograph of it and then decide where I'm going to go next. Okay, so I've taken a photograph, I've had a look, it's dried off a tiny bit, and yeah, there's not enough colour, I think, towards the bottom of the picture. It needs to reflect some of that colour that's at the top. So what I'm going to do is take some more pink, because the pink's really bright. There's no way that that wouldn't reflect down the bottom. So we're just going to put a tiny bit pink just here below the land. It's not going to stay like that. And the same on this side. And we're going to get our brush that we had, there we go, a raggedy brush. And again, just clean off the excess on there. I'm going to drag this down a bit. You can just see it looks like a bit reflected light there. And then I'm going to do similar with the yellow. That's slightly further back, so that's going to be slightly further down. Yellow's a wee bit muddy there, but that's okay. I'll take some here as well. And again, just drag this down a little bit. That's nice. And then, yeah, very gently drag it across. So I'm going to add more pink further down because I like the pink, and why not? So pink here, here, a bit more here, and purple. That's a bit too much. So we'll add some purple in here. I'm not sure that's quite enough pink yet, but we'll see. We can keep playing about with it. So, yeah, again, raggedy brush. I should really give it a name. Oh, that's a lot of purple. That's okay. The purple's a really strong colour, especially compared to the yellow, so that is going to stand out more. But that's okay. This is all an experiment, really. I quite like that. Quite like that. And again, gently take it from quite low down this time. Catch some of that colour further down. You see there's a really light hint now of that colour down the bottom, and I like that. We might need to go in with a bit more white at the bottom just to lighten that up. Basically what I'm going to do here is just continue to play with this. We need to soften this top as well, it's just not quite right. And what I might do, I've got another raggedy brush here. Do you like my raggedy brushes? That I'm going to use just to soften all of this a little bit, not to make it quite so harsh. So yeah, you can see this brush, it's been through some times with me. But yeah, it's one of my besties. I'm just going to dab this a little bit and soften it all. Yeah, like that. You can see we're merging into a little bit orange territory here. I don't want it to get muddy because there is a risk of that. So I'm just going to do this very gently. Purple and yellow work really well together because they're contrasting colours. But try to mix them and you get a whole heap of muddy brown, which is not what I want here. I've taken another photograph of this and yeah, I figured out, you know, the reason I wanted to stop and take a photograph is because I'm not entirely happy, but I'm not sure why I'm not entirely happy. And I figured out that, yeah, well, some of the edges here towards the bottom of the reflection are too harsh. So that needs to be softened. As I say, I thought I was going to add some white towards the bottom, and I'm definitely going to do that, and I'm going to use that to soften the reflections. And I'm probably going to go in again with a bit more dark and create what I think are going to be trees here now. I think this is going to be, I don't think there are houses there. I think this is all forest and the colours are highlights, unrealistic highlights albeit, but that's okay. exhibition. Very excited about it. It is from the 30th of January to the 2nd of February, from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. in Dundas Street Gallery, so central Edinburgh. And it's called, because of the bodies of water theme, I've called it Salty.